Hello everybody. How are you all doing today? We're back again to the learning sessions of Unreal Engine 4 with my friend Strange Bro Jim and I are going through the Unreal 4 documentation to learn how to use the engine properly before we hop on and start making something ourselves. Before I get started, of course, I'm gonna do my little salad speech. So, down in the description below, you will find the link to the Poker Shop. You can purchase energy mixes, lead mixes, hydration mixes, shakers, and even stickers. And if you use hero code Blackheart, you get a 10% discount and help support the channel in the process. And now let's hop on right on over to what we were doing today. While I also hop on over to Jim's stage if he's already like getting on. Yeah, he's on the stage already for Unreal. We're still in the working with audio segment. Last time we finished up with the ambient sound actor. I don't remember the full name now. And we were moving on to audio files. Let me just find his. Okay, there he is. Stage. There he is. Oh, I forgot to unmute the. Here it is. There you guys should be able to
allow for us to really use what we've learned with the Unreal Engine so far, through studying this documentation. Then we will move on to start making our own games at that point, and we'll see where we can go from there. But that's the plan, if anybody's wondering. So I see that Blackheart is in the stage, so let me go ahead and invite him to speak.
Hello there, Jim. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. How about yourself?
I'm doing okay.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Okay, so we're going to be continuing our process in the audio section. Hopefully we won't have too many problems with this one, but you never know.
Yeah, we're not audio engineers, so some things we are bound to struggle with.
Yeah. So, and which reminds me, if anybody is very familiar with being, doing a lot of audio with Unreal Engine, please feel free to stick around and, maybe answer our questions, because we're probably going to have some. Or at least, maybe, tell us, no, this is how you should think of it, or something along those lines. We are welcome to have some additional insights on it, answering our questions or anything along those lines. We welcome that, even if it's if you're like maybe watching these videos, years down the line, you can maybe put some answers in the comment section, because who knows, maybe someone else is also studying along with us. You never know. So. Okay, so ready to get started on the audio file section?
Yep.
Okay. So the audio files, the basic requirements of getting sound files into the Unreal Engine 4. Okay, so the Unreal Engine 4's audio system provides tools and features to mold the sounds in the game to give them the desired feel. This all starts with your audio source files. Either as mono or stereo files, they can be quickly imported into Unreal Editor 4 and begin breathing more life into your creations. Below are the basic requirements for your audio content and a quick import guide. Now, I will say something a little bit quickly. Yes, well, I mean, sound can definitely, give more life to your creations, of course. That's you know, um, it would be an interesting game if we were to not use any kind of sound whatsoever, right? We would have to kind of counter, we would have to really work. Uh, we would have to find something else that, might be, uh, if we had no sound whatsoever, right? So, and even then, it's like, we would have to like, if we had no sound whatsoever, then that, that would be a very interesting game. Um, because like no music, no sound effects, nothing of the sort. It's like, hmm. Uh, now I know like one game recently came out uh, that has no background music whatsoever. You know, uh, but it does still have audio. Which was the uh, Exit 8. That's been kind of going around lately.
Oh yeah, I've seen a few videos of it.
Yeah. Um, so no background music, but it definitely has still audio to it. It still has, echo effects. It still has, walking distance, uh, rushing water, and so on and so forth. A little, uh, but that's the thing about that game is that because it doesn't necessarily have any like background music that a lot of people might be used to. It it kind of you know it it puts them into a sense of unfamiliarity. Because here they are like expecting, oh, I'm gonna see a title screen. Oh, I'm gonna have some background music. Nope and nope. It's like, hmm. Already you're kind of thrown into something unexpected and maybe a little unnerving for some. So, uh, which might be exactly what you're kind of going for, in a game, right? Uh, so,
Lack of audio, if I think about it, like I haven't seen it done yet, but having you play as a character that can't hear.
yeah.
Having the lack of audio, like putting you in the position of a character that can't hear, that will be an interesting experimental game.
Yeah. Um, you would have to you would in that case you would have to be something. It would have to be something that is highly visual, right?
Yep.
Um, and and even then it's like what happens if you might mess with the player a little bit, like hey, sure, you might be deaf, but maybe they throw some flashbangs in there or something like that, which you know causes additional problems, or you put them in a nighttime situation where you know they don't see anything, they don't really hear anything. It's like now you're but you really have to um, it might be a little different, like
There would definitely be
if
something different. I haven't seen it done yet, but I would be very interested in my opinion.
I thought I think there was a game that tried to do something like that. Here, hold on. Game about being deaf.
I know I came across an indie game about being a blind samurai, which you only have sound to guide yourself with. Found a game that did
Mhm.
that once before. Very hard,
Mhm.
but I haven't found where you can't hear.
Yeah. I mean, uh, you can maybe do something that could be like just as simple as um uh trying to uh just having like a person just like walking down the street or something like that. You can have something as simple as that, you know, and basically saying, okay, you just want to go down to the grocery market, but the city is having one of its days. Good luck, kind of thing. you know, and of course you could just make it just absolutely insane, right? Like you can have just like simple stages where it's like like maybe like the only thing that you have to worry about is you get to crossing the street, right? But you have to wait until uh the crosswalk is basically saying, hey, you can walk now, and but you have to be careful because maybe someone's trying to run the red. If you walk out too fast, or if you don't like look to the left and see that hey, there's a car that's screaming out of the control, it's like, well, guess what? You're going to get yourself run over, or something along those lines. I mean, um, we can definitely. It would definitely be an interesting build. That I will say that, but at the same time, um, the I could just imagine um trolling gamers on a game at the very start, like the title screen, right?
Right.
um you have like uh you have the the title of the game, and start, load, and all that kind of jazz, right? And down at the very bottom, you have, how when you're watching something with subtitles, right? If you have something that has subtitles on, whenever they're playing music, it always like it there's always that little subtitle down at the very bottom, because let's face it, if you're deaf, you're not going to be able to hear the music.
Nope.
But it's like down at the very bottom saying, music with rock or something like that, right? Can you imagine we do a title screen and we put that down at the very bottom? But no actual music, just
The subtitle.
just subtitles. Yeah, just to mess with people. Now, of course, if someone is actually deaf, that might not necessarily change for them at all, right? Um, but at the same time, we'll need to like let them know that this is indeed something that we're just kind of working on, just for maybe giving players an understanding of what it might be like in a day of being actually deaf, you know. So, but I don't know. But at the same time, you and I aren't deaf, so we wouldn't, we don't know.
No.
Um, but it'd be kind of interesting, right? Maybe something for us to think about, later on.
Yeah.
But um, but yeah, the breathing more life, yes, it definitely can. That you know uh, quite understandable along those lines. So okay, import. The engine currently supports importing uncompressed little Indian 16-bit wave files at any sample rate, although sample rates of 44,100 hertz or 22,050 hertz are recommended. Specifications, wave, bit rates, speaker channels, blah blah blah. Importing with the normal sound factory yields a simple sound node wave that can be referenced by a sound cue for playback. These sounds can be mono or stereo. Importing with a special naming convention gives the potential for multi-channel, e.g. 5.1 sounds. Up to 8 channel sounds can be compressed on all platforms, although not all platforms can play them back efficiently. The package saving process does all the necessary work to convert the platform's native format. There is no strict speaker mapping, so the number of channel infers which channels are played on which speakers. See table below. So, front right, front left, front right, front center, low frequency, side left, side right, back left, back right. So that's basically, if you had a 8 speaker setup, with the 7.1, that's basically what this is all about here. You have the front left, front right, front center. You have the low frequency, which is, typically referred to as the bass. At least I believe that's what, but normally whenever I see, surround sound systems, they, whenever the low frequency, I would imagine, would be like the bass speaker that is typically included in surround sound from what I've seen. So I'm assuming that's what it's about. You have the side left and side right, which is supposed to be, directly to your sides. Not necessarily like in front or back of you. It's meant to like hit your ears directly. And back left and back right. So compression settings are tweaked to maintain similar quality across platforms. After testing many sounds, our musician determined an XMA quality was of 40 was equivalent to an OGG Vorbis quality of 0.15. I have no idea what this.
I don't know what that is now.
No idea what this last line is even referring to whatsoever.
No.
XMA quality, Org Vorbis, what? No clue. So, if anybody has any insight on that, feel free to, let us know. But yeah. Single file import. In the content browser, from the content browser, click the import button. Select the WAV file you wish to import. Or select the sound file in the Windows File Explorer window and click and drag it into the content browser in the Unreal Editor 4. Okay, so you can either do the import menu or you can just drag and drop. So. Okay, multi-channel import. In the content browser, from the content browser, click the import button, picture below. Select the files that have the appropriate naming convention that will form your sound asset, such as surround FL, .wave, surround FR wave, surround SL wave, and surround SR wave. So, if you go back up to the that little table that was above there, about the front left, front right, you'll notice, the extensions, extension column there. So what you're going to want to make sure that you do, because I'm assuming Unreal is probably looking for them as well, is you label the sounds that you want for people to hear from those speakers, with these particular extensions at kind of like the tail end of them, like sound underscore FL, .wave, for the front left. sound underscore SL, dot wave for the side left, that kind of thing. So, this will create a 4-channel asset called surround. Or select all your sound files in the Windows File Explorer window and click and drag them into the content browser in Unreal 4. Exporting a multi-channel sound asset will create a mono wave file for each channel with the above speaker extension naming convention. So, related, working with audio. We're already doing that, so we don't need to worry about that. Yep. Audio system overview. We've already covered that, so... we've already covered that. So both of these have already been covered, or being covered right at this moment in time. So, and that's it. That's all that there is to this section, which I find very disappointing.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna state that right now because, here I was expecting that they would cover a lot more when it comes to the audio files. What you might need for them, what you might, expect from them. How to add them into the game engine. What maybe the different settings that you might see for the audio files or something along those lines, and what they actually mean, maybe some word definitions or something, anything, I was kind of expecting this to be a fairly large accumulation of a lot of information for audio files, but no, they're just giving me the basic requirements. And even then it's like, okay, well, it's not very, doesn't really have a whole lot there, guys.
Nope.
So any questions or anything that you want to speak up about there?
Nope. I just hope that someone puts in the chat or down in the comments below anything about that paragraph under the chart about that, what XMA and Vorbis is, because I have no idea what those were.
Agreed.
Yeah, that is alien to me.
Yeah. Now, let me add something more to that as well. Okay. We're gonna be putting this on both of our channels. Okay. Obviously, Blackheart will have his view showing everything. I will have my view showing everything. So, ideally it'd be great if people do answer these questions on these videos to maybe go to the other channel and add in the same comment to each of our videos. That would be ideal, but I get if you don't really want to take that kind of time to just kind of copy and paste. So at the very least, leave it on one of our on comment section for one of our videos, and we'll share with each other. So don't be stressed about having to, oh my god, I have to deal this. No, you don't have to. It'd be nice, but you don't have to. So, okay. Shall we move on to the sound attenuation? I mean, we still got 30 more minutes left.
Yeah, let's at least get that one started.
Okay.
Oh, it's lengthy.
Oh yeah.
Very lengthy.
And it looks as though it covers a lot of visuals and what we might be kind of seeing on here. It seems like there's a lot of examples on it. So, but
Yep.
yeah, it's this will take us a couple days, easy.
Yep.
Oh, my voice.
You okay?
No, just kidding. No, no, no. I'm just I'm looking at it and going, oh my god, my voice is gonna die. You know, with the sheer amount. You know, obviously, you know, when you're a streamer, you know, you have to make sure that you. I mean, if you're like singing a lot, you're gonna need to take days off to, or you know, you're gonna need to take points, or you know, you're not gonna want to stress your voice out, you know, any more than you know already have with singing, right? Same with just speaking. You know, if you're speaking quite a bit, you know, you're gonna need to make sure that um, you know, like 8 hours of constantly speaking can be a little rough on your voice if you're not careful. So,
Yeah.
thankfully, we don't have to worry about it on this particular in this particular case. But you know, obviously, if I was to ever lose my voice, which I don't think it's ever happened to me, to be honest. I don't think I've ever really lost my voice before, to my knowledge. At least I don't really remember ever having that experience. Um,
Neither have I.
you know, I would definitely be handing the reins over to Blackheart and saying, Blackheart, you're gonna have to, you're gonna have to speak on this. Which, obviously, he's.
Yeah, they're gonna have to deal with my very bad English reading. And they already get enough of that on my Blender Krita streams.
Yeah. But um, yeah, you know, I just if you know, like if that were to ever happen, you know, then we will be dealing with it, you know, one way or another. So you don't have to stress about that. Also, you know, I figured, you know, my speaking through all this is kind of comfortable for Blackheart as well. You know, unless he wants to speak or you know speak through this. I mean, I'll let him if he wants. If he wants to do it.
Well, I know with some
But
words I'm gonna struggle.
yeah,
And just
but
take a
I
look at
mean,
any of my art bots where you'll see how much I struggle with some words.
yeah, I know, I get it. Um, you know, English isn't your first language, which
Nope.
is, I mean, like I said, um, you know, you know, I'm impressed. Um, like, well, I mean, you have Spanish and English. I mean, and your English is really good, my friend.
Thank you.
You know, so um, and you know, Spanish is your native, so at least I'm assuming Spanish is your native.
Yep. Yes, it is.
So, um, you know, do you have any other languages that you have under your belt, or is it
Not
just the
at the
two?
time.
Are you trying to learn another one, or
I'm thinking of looking into some other language.
okay? Yeah. But you know, I just have English, so folks. You know, uh, you know, I might have maybe a few words of Spanish under my belt, but that's about it. You know, never got into the conversational Spanish. So when I took the 2 classes of Spanish back in high school, which was years ago, so. Alright, so send attenuation. Reference for the various models available for controlling the attenuation of sounds. Reference for the sound attenuation settings asset, which controls various aspects of how sound behaves over distance relative to the listener. Usually, the player is the listener. Usually.
You can make AI be a listener in a way.
Well, yeah, true. Various,
An example I can
well, I
think
mean,
of is Alien Isolation. The alien is a listener. It can't hear.
Yep. So if you're making a lot of noise, it will go, ooh, you're over here. Let's go. Let's come and attack. And attack it will. Another one that has been getting a lot of gameplay lately has been Lethal Company. That's been getting a lot of. That's been going around quite a lot lately, and it's gotten so popular that a lot of mods have stepped in and are doing a lot for that as well. So
yeah, and that game, the vanilla game of that actually has a mob that actually relies on hearing only.
Yep. There's a mob that's hearing only. There's a mob that's visual only. So a mob that apparently steals your stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not always the listener. It would be kind of interesting to try to create a game where you might not be the listener, but someone else is in some way. I don't know how that would work out, but but yeah, CPUs with being a listener is common practice nowadays. So in some cases, anyway, I should say. So the purposes of this document, we will use the term listener. Attenuation distance. This section defines how the sound's volume will reduce, attenuate, as the listener moves away from it. The volume of the sound will be at its maximum within the inner area of the attenuation shape. As the listener moves away from this inner area, the sound will decrease in volume, reaching its minimum volume at the boundary of the outer area. The rate of attenuation relative to distance is determined by the attenuation function. Okay, so attenuation function at the very in the graphic there is linear. The attenuation shape is spherical. The annual radius is 400. I'm assuming 400 pixels. I don't know how else they rate that. So fall off distance is 3,600, and I'm assuming pixels. Again, I don't know. They're not really telling us anything yet on that.
No.
And it says enable volume attenuation, which is interesting as to what that has to do with the with everything overall. Like, what happens if you just turn it off? Does that just remove like the attenuation shape?
Well, we did mention it, like having that off, you can hear pretty much everywhere within the given area. Well, attenuation would actually affect distance. Without it, it'll, regardless of where you are at, the volume won't change.
Okay.
From what we experimented, that was what was happening.
Okay. I don't really remember that, but that's okay. So it pretty much removes not only the shape, the inner radius, but also the fall off distance. So if that's the case, so all right, but we'll move on. It looks like they will kind of explain more about this. So
Yep.
so the attenuation function. This property defines the function that determines the rate of attenuation over distance. There's a number of different functions to choose from. Linear. This is the default function. When using this function, the volume will attenuate linearly, and so the changes in volume are constant as the listener moves towards and away from the source. This function is good for crossfading between large background type sounds that don't need tightly focused 3D spatial fall-off settings. Okay. A little bit of misspelling in there, but whatever. I'm gonna ignore it. Logarithmic. When using this function, the volume attenuates such that the changes in volume are greater at closer distances and lesser at far distances. This function is good for spot sounds that need good 3D positioning while still being audible at reasonable distances. Okay. I'm not quite sure how that would really play out in real life. Because the line is basically showing how much the volume changes based off of the overall distance versus sound volume. So like the closer you are, the higher the volume and the sound volume, but the further away you get, there's a sharp decline, and then it slowly trickles all the way out to the very distance to be at a sound volume 0, right? But to be honest, I can't really think of a scenario where that really comes into play. Where the sound drops off like considerably the further away like like you have a lot of like you can hear everything happening when you're like right next to something, but it like falls off considerably until you're super far away that you can't hear anything. Maybe speech?
Maybe. Just all depend on the situation and what effect we want to achieve.
Not sure. I'm kind of curious as to when you would want to use a logarithmic equation. I would figure that hey, linear is pretty much going to be the only thing that you're really going to be using in any kind of sound situations, right? But but at the same time, if they're adding logarithmic, inverse, log, reverse, natural sound, and custom to the functions, I'm wondering, what examples would fit into these particular scenarios? And unfortunately, they're not giving us any kind of examples yet.
I guess I can think of one, say like a speeding car drives by you or something like that. You have that moment where it's loud but it quickly drops off because of how sound works with physics.
But it
Or a siren.
but I can still see that as a linear though, because I mean it's the volume will just continue to increase as the sound gets closer and closer and closer to you, and then drop off at
Actually,
a
sound
steady rate.
waves on a moving object works a little different. Like there is a, I can't really explain it well, but there is a video where it explains with example of when you hear some sirens of a moving vehicle. The sound waves actually work a little bit different.
Well,
You might want to look at a video. I can't really explain it.
I mean, you know, unless you're going faster than the speed of sound.
No,
you
it
know.
doesn't really need to be faster speed of sound.
Oh no, I'm just giving that as an example. Okay. Um, I don't. I personally don't understand how a sound wave would be able to have a logarithmic drop off. Okay. Unless something is somehow affecting the sound wave to, you know, to like reduce it down considerably before it like, um, you know, as the further away you get away from it, then, you know, but, you know,
Yeah, I
uh,
think I thought of a way to explain it. Like, give a police car with a siren going. It's moving, it's speeding forward. The sound waves on the front of it will be much closer together than they will be behind it. Behind it will just start spreading further out. That does affect the sound. It wouldn't sound linear at all.
hmm,
If I drives by right by you, but when you hear it, the sound's like different from when you were in front of it. That when you're behind it, the sound's different. I do remember seeing a video that explains this with detail of how sound works with physics.
I'm trying to process it in my brain, so give me a second.
I saw this a long time ago, but it was like
No,
that.
I mean I get what you're saying.
If you want to achieve that similar
The
effect, then linear might not be the way, because for linear, like the waves are the same all around it. This might simulate the difference on the actual sound waves.
Oh, okay. Here's here's my here's my problem with it a little bit. Okay. Okay, so let's put it into a different example here. Okay. Let's say the police car with the sirens going is standing still, right? So as you're walking away from, or walking towards or walking away from the police car with the sirens going, that would be a linear progression, right?
Yeah,
Because
it's a
uh,
stationary
if
object.
right, you're dealing with a stationary object in that particular regards, right? The sound waves are the same, and your distance is increasing or decreasing depending on, you know, if you're coming or going. So if you're traveling at a constant speed and the siren and the car with the siren is not moving, then obviously that would be considered linear. Now, so here's my slight problem with the argument with trying to face and um with the oncoming cop car with the siren going, right? You're right. Okay, if the as it is traveling, while the car itself is not going faster than the speed of sound. Okay, so the sound waves are faster than how fast a car is moving. It depends on the speed of that car, right? Unless that car is somehow going at the speed of sound, which probably don't really want to have a car being able to do that.
Yeah, no, a jet would fit that description more.
Yeah. Um, but it has its siren going off, right? So the sound waves would be faster than the traveling car. Okay, and you're right. One sound wave would basically be kind of added. You're you're pretty much packing the sound waves together as it's traveling, right? But here's the thing: when you when you are like walking towards, or even if you're stationary, right? The amount of sound waves that are coming towards you that are hitting you are going to be consistent. It's the same kind of linear progression, just the sound waves are more compact. If you
Yeah, they're more
you
compact, so
understand
you're
what.
not really getting hit by them as the same as you would be from behind the car.
Well, right. I will grant you that. Okay, but the problem is that um this is this is based off of distance. Now, what they're showing here is, what when you are closest to the sound versus how far away you are from it. It's not showing you an arc, or it's not showing you a you know uh, far distance to close to far kind of graph. It's not showing you a hill in this particular example.
This that here would be
Um,
if you were coming towards it, like you're not taking consideration that the graph's showing you as a starting point, standing next to it and moving away from it. But if you're moving close to it, then you would have to look at this backwards. Like this graph just so okay, but your highest
right, right.
point,
I mean,
you're standing right where the sound is at.
okay. Let's just flip it around. Okay, so like you're standing far away from the initial sound waves of the siren, right? Okay, you're far away. You know, you're far away from the sound wave, so you're not hearing it
Yeah.
as much. But here's my here's where I'm going. This could still be considered a linear problem. My point that I'm making in this particular case, okay, is the fact that if the car is traveling at the same speed, if you're stationary and the car's and yeah, you're stationary, car's traveling at the same speed, those sound waves are going to be pretty much the same, even if the car was standing still or traveling at the same speed. It will have um the siren will be sending off its sound wave. Sure, the if it's traveling towards you, the sound waves would be closer to each other. Okay, would be closer to each other. So you'd be hearing the siren a lot faster, and you'd be hearing woo 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 woo, kind of thing when it's coming closer to you, right? Okay, versus if it's going away from you, you'd be hearing woo 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 woo, or whatever, right? But my point is that the the amount of sound waves that are hitting you is going to be consistent. Okay, there's no change
Yeah,
in
the
the
change may
amount
not
of
be in the amount will be the same, yes, but in like how fast
the,
they're hitting you won't be.
no, it will still be what I'm saying is that the sound waves are traveling at the same speed. The sound waves are traveling at the same speed. They're going to be hitting you at the same speed for every single last wave. Okay, that is
Yeah,
a
but not at the same
linear.
rate.
No, it will be the same rate.
If you're
Because
compacting the sound from the front, the rate is actually gonna be different because they're gonna be closer together. While behind you, they're gonna be further apart.
no,
The
okay,
wave is the same, but the
time out,
rate's different. Like you
time
just
out. I
look at the video. Look for the video about
Blackheart,
sound
stop,
and physics.
please, please stop. I'm not taking into consideration the car moving away from you. Okay, I'm just talking about it coming closer to you because this graph is only showing from from its furthest point to when it's right next to you. That's it. It's not taking into consideration when it leaves you. Okay. Now I will grant you. Okay. The if we are going to be looking at two different graphs. Okay, based off of when it's coming closer to you and versus how it's leaving you. Okay, I will grant you those would be two different looking graphs to each other. Okay, because you know uh, the sheer amount would be different. Okay, you're not going to be hitting. You're not going to be. Well, I don't. Uh, okay, but my point is that there's nothing changing the sound waves. Okay, the sound waves are traveling at the same exact speed. They're not changing how the sound waves are getting to you. Okay, that's what the logarithmic is kind of all about. Okay, is that fact that it's changing, um, like the amount of sound waves that are kind of hitting you. But when the siren is coming towards you, you're going to be hit with the same amount of sound waves, no matter what. Okay, you know, yes, there's going to be a lot more of them. Sure, I will grant you that, but that doesn't mean that it's a logarithmic progression. You know, it's going to be a linear progression because the amount of sound waves is going to be the same. It's going to be consistent amount, no matter, like, if you, okay, let me put it this way, okay? The amount of sound waves that you get
What you're trying to
from,
achieve with what you're explaining is natural sound, which is that later down the line, which is two graphs together, pretty much.
what do you mean?
Look at the graph on natural sound. It has the logarithmic one in it, but it also has a second one that's different. That one would apply to that.
Um, okay, I'm having a hard time trying to explain this. Okay. Would you agree with me that the amount of sound waves that would be basically hitting your body, you know, would be the same, um, as the police car is coming towards you? Would you or would you not say that the amount of sound waves that are hitting you is consistent?
Only up to an extent, because you ignore the physics there.
I'm not, I'm not, I'm not talking about any kind of air pressure. I'm not talking about any kind of um, uh, I'm not talking about anything. All I'm talking about is siren to you and a car speeding towards you at a consistent rate. Would you agree with me that the sound waves hitting you would be consistent, no matter what?
Yes, it would be.
Would the consistency remain the same no matter where the car is in position to you?
Yeah.
Is that not a linear progression? The loudness
In this
would
case,
increase.
no, because the rate it goes up is different.
Why? How?
Like I said, it,
That
lem-
the
lem-
sound the
when you're
sound
it coming
waves.
towards you, the loudness of it is going first slowly up, but then all of a sudden it's like spikes up, which would
No,
be the logarithmic one. Yes, it would be on
no,
a moving car because the
no. It
sound
would
waves are
not
being
be.
compressed from the front. They're being compressed,
But they're still traveling at you faster than the car is.
but that doesn't mean the sound is gonna be the same all around.
The sound the the loudness will progress based off of the traveling car, and that's it.
Yeah, but did you not ever wonder why, when it comes from the front, sounds so different that when you're behind it after it once runs by you?
The amount of sound that you hear
The
would
loudness
be
would be
different.
different. Yeah, as it comes by
No,
this.
no, no. The loudness will increase in a linear way, no matter where
On a
you are
stationary
in the.
one would be. On a moving one, it would
No,
it would reach a point where you all those compressed sound waves are like pretty much on top of you, and the loudness would spike.
no, it doesn't.
Just look up the video about physics and audio.
Okay. I I will have to agree to disagree then because you know the the volume would be the volume would be consistent. The amount of sound waves hitting you would be consistent if you're dealing with a consistent moving vehicle. So, and if the
The loudness
sound waves,
wouldn't be consistent.
it would because you're going to be hit with the same amount of you're going to be hit with the same amount of sound waves no matter what. It's going to be the same. It's going to be a linear progression of volume because the consistency is the traveling car. As the car approaches you at a consistent rate, it will be a consistent climb. It will be a linear climb based off of the speed of the car coming towards you because the sound waves, you're right. The sound waves would be more compact, but um, the amount wouldn't change. Okay. The sound waves are, if if the car was going, in a it if the car had any kind of acceleration to it, that would change the amount of waves that are hitting you. Okay, and therefore it would be more of a logarithmic based off of acceleration, and I will grant you that. But if I'm talking about a consistent driving car at the same speed, it would be linear. Okay? That's that's what I'm kind of pointing out. That's what I'm trying to discuss here. But we'll have to agree to disagree. I will go ahead and look at, feel free to, if you can find that video, feel free to link it to me. Um, but that is uh, but I'm believe that, you know yeah, I can't see of a way that, you know uh, I'm 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 wrong at this particular juncture. Okay, I will admit, if it does, if I'm proven wrong, then I'm proven wrong. But right now, I I don't see how. So, But again,
I'm trying to draw something on paint just to show you, from what I can remember, how sound waves actually work between a stationary object and a moving object. Let me see if I can get it.
let me go to your channel so I can kind of see. You know, if are you showing paint right now?
I'm first setting it up.
Okay.
Okay, there it is. I put the rectangle. Assume it's a car. On the left side is a stationary car. You're this little diamond. That would be the sound waves consistent from a stationary car. On a moving car, the waves on the front get compressed and actually take longer to reach you, thus affecting the loudness of it. This is why it would sound different. The loudness of it would be different because the sound waves are being compressed and getting to you late.
Okay, but here's my point.
The loudness would not be consistent ever. Like right here, yeah. In this case, it's linear. Let me just.
Okay.
It does this on this case, but on this case, it would.
Blackheart.
If it lets me. I want to. I'll be flipping a switch.
Pull the car back, like miles behind,
like this,
and add more waves to it.
The effect would still be the same. The waves on the front are still being compressed and are not getting to you at the same rate as it would be here. Here, the loudness would be consistent no matter what. Well, here, because it's moving, it's like it's as it approaches. Once it reaches like this point, all these waves are hitting you at the same time, making it sound louder all of a sudden.
That's if you are suddenly not, you know, the problem that you're having right at this moment in time is you're saying as though you weren't hearing it before.
That you can hear it, but this is like the rate of the loudness. Starting from here, like you're hearing it hearing it just slowly. But once it's like right next to you, like the loudness of it will actually spike because all these compressed waves are suddenly getting to you.
No, the amount of waves are still going to be consistent to you no matter where the car is.
A moving car would not have this wave, no matter what. Physics has proven that a moving car will not have these waves, no matter what.
Wait, you're contradicting yourself, the Blackheart.
No, but what you're saying, a moving car is gonna have this. That's what you're saying, because it doesn't matter how much.
On the right hand side, the car on the right will, you're saying the picture on the right. I will agree with you. It, is correct. Okay.
Yeah, and that affects loudness. That's what you're not recognizing. This affects loudness.
My point is that the amount of waves, coming from the car, is gonna be the
waves are gonna be the same, but because it's moving, that loudness won't be.
You're gonna have the same amount no matter what, and that is a consistent volume.
The volume may be consistent, but the way the player receives it isn't.
No, the sound waves are traveling faster than a car. Therefore, the amount of waves hitting the player will be a consistent amount of waves hitting them. Okay?
Yeah, but because the rate's different, how you perceive it is different.
You just missed my point. The amount of waves hitting you would be at a constant rate. Okay? The siren going off is, sounding off at that constant rate. Okay? The fact that it's packed, sure, you're right on that. The sound waves would be packed. You would be hearing the siren going off at a faster rate. I will grant you that. Okay, but that doesn't change the volume, the loudness of the siren, because you're constantly hearing a constant increase of the sound waves coming towards you. That is a linear progression of volume to from where you are ascending
Yeah, but
to the
up until
constant rate
it's
of the
like
car
really
coming
close to
towards
you.
you.
Up until it's really close to you. Like that's what logarithm is
It
saying. Like
doesn't.
at the
It
start
does.
point, it is consistent. It goes up, but there will be a point as you get close that you're so close it's gonna spike up. That's what logarithm is saying, and that's what happens with from the front a moving vehicle. Like the moment that cop car drives by you, you're gonna get a little spike on that siren right next to your ear.
The my point is that unless you are changing your position, okay, or you're coming from behind a building or something along those lines, something else that is affecting the sound waves, directly in some fashion or another, or there is an acceleration of said car or something along those lines, there should be no reason for a logarithmic change. Okay? There should be no reason for it because the amount of waves hitting you in a stationary position with the car going at a consistent speed towards you would be a constant linear progression. Okay? The car traveling to you would be much like you just walking to a stationary car. It is the same constant rate.
The
The
loudness
fact that
would not be
the fact
constant on a moving
I,
vehicle. The loudness would change with a moving vehicle or a moving object.
it would be still consistent.
The loudness wouldn't.
I will have to disagree with you on that one.
If it was a stationary, yeah, the loudness is consistent. It's a straight line as you walk into it because the waves are not being altered in any way, shape, or form. Loudness is determined by how close together these waves can be.
No, it determines how much you hear.
That is technically the loudness. How much you can hear is...
No, incorrect, my friend.
Just look at the view. Physics that has shown as a moving object is coming to you that those waves are being compressed, and the rate in which you receive it actually affects how loud you hear it. So if it's moving very fast, say like 100 miles per hour, as it's coming to you for like 5 blocks, it's gonna be consistent a little bit up until it's like just a few meters from you. On that point, that loudness is going to spike up fast because you're getting more waves being hit to you at a much faster rate. That's why when standing here and standing here, it's gonna be have a massive spike of loudness between here and here. Well, if it was like all the way out here, you'll be like within this part. That one part would seem linear, but here you'll be looking at this part of the chart where it suddenly goes up a little faster, the loudness of it.
Okay, the problem that you're making right at this moment in time is the fact that you're only drawing 3 waves.
It's just an example. Even if I add the more waves, the principle is still the same.
It is the same. You're getting the same amount of waves,
but not at the same rate. That rate in which you get it affects how loud it sounds. Like right there, this guy's getting bombarded by waves, which will make it sound louder. While here, it doesn't matter where you're standing, the distance between each wave is going to be the same. So the loudness is going to be linear in that case. But here it would affect how loud that is right on your ear. Remember, waves are vibrations, and that's what hearing is. It's vibrations. If the waves are closer together, that ear is gonna vibrate fast, making it sound louder. But here, that vibration is consistent. That vibration.
But the amount of waves coming to you is consistent based off of the traveling car. the amount of waves that are hitting you
But
from a
not
speeding
the
car
rate.
is
It
going to
is the
be
rate that
it,
determines how loud that is.
n- no, rate does not determine rate does not determine how loud a sound is. Distance is the only thing that determines how loud a sound is. That's it. Not the amount, not the rate of sound. The distance from you and where the originating sound is. The distance between those two determines the how loud what you are hearing is. Okay, if the sound that you're hearing from miles away is super loud, then you will hear it. Okay, but if it is super quiet, you will not. Okay, distance is the only thing that will change that. Okay, unless of course you spike up the volume of what what is actually being um, you know uh, displayed. Okay, the rate on which the waves hit you does not
It
uh,
changes.
does
It
does not
physics
change the
shows that
volume.
it does. Says that it does. Physics will always affect how you perceive audio. Always.
Okay, uh, let's pause for now. Okay, we're beating around the bush. Let me go and look up something myself. Okay, the black heart. Let me see what you know. Uh, let me try to come at this from a different angle. Okay, we'll agree to disagree for right now. Okay, and we'll come back to this tomorrow. Okay. Are you okay with that?
Sure.
Unless you want to continue this debate, which obviously we're going around in circles right at this moment in time. Um, I need to find something else. Okay, that is uh to figure out, what where the main um where the main problem is on this one. Okay. And right now we're arguing. We both feel like we're right, and obviously we're having problems trying to get you know either I'm trying to explain it wrong, or I'm incorrect in some fashion or another. I don't know. Okay. Or there's something that maybe you're also not understanding, or something along those lines. Like maybe I'm correct, and there's something that you're not understanding, or maybe I'm incorrect and I'm not understanding. Whatever. But obviously, us, arguing with each other about this is not going anywhere right at this moment in time. We need to have a third party kind of interject and go, okay, let's look at this at another way, and we'll come back to it, and we'll address it next time. Okay.
Mm.
So otherwise, we're just going to argue with each other until we're blue in the face, and we won't get anywhere. So let's pause for now until let's step away, cooler heads. um, and we'll let me look up online a little bit more about this, and figure out what 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 is another way of looking at it differently. Okay. And we'll come back to this again tomorrow, and hopefully we'll have a better understanding of what could be, where I might be wrong, or you might be wrong, or where we both might be wrong. I don't know. Again, we'll step away from this with cooler heads, and we'll come back to it tomorrow. Okay? You good?
Yeah.
So that's gonna be, you know, obviously, you know, you need to also get some food in you. So, um, what are you playing tonight again?
Rebel Galaxy.
Gotcha. So, and I will be stepping into Warframe for anybody that is interested in that. So, obviously, Blackheart's going to sign off for now and do his own thing, get some eat, and then he'll be back on later. I'm going to be staying online to do some video uploads, and I will look into this a little bit more. So you know, just to let everybody know what's going on. So we shall return, and I want to wish everybody, you know, thank you for joining us for this Unreal Engine session. It was a very interesting debate at the very end there. Obviously, we're taking a pause for that, and then we'll come back to that discussion tomorrow. So if you want more of that discussion, then I would recommend that you stop on by during our stream tomorrow and listen in while we discuss this further. But that's going to be it for tonight. So I'll leave you to your audience, Blackheart, and I will talk with you more tomorrow for some Genshin Impact. Sounds good?
Yep.
All right, man. Right. Or actually, Unreal first and then Genshin Impact, but yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Bye.
You have yourself a good night. Bye.
Okay, there it is. The stage is closed. I do know what I'm saying is correct because I do remember watching something about it regarding sound and physics, and they did use a moving police car as an example, where as you were in the front, you would have a spike of loudness when it goes right by you, while it was further away. The way it was, the volume was going up was consistent. There's a sudden spike right when it goes by, if I remember correctly from that video. I was back in school as well when I saw this regarding sound. It's gonna take me a while to probably find a proper example of that because that was a long time ago, and I don't remember how about that video regarding sound and physics. Pretty good, like, you know. I'll have to hopefully find something to show and hopefully I can find something. Well, I'm just gonna end it there. I'm gonna go get myself some food so I can later start the Rebel Galaxy stream. So that is all for now. Hope you enjoy it. I hope to see you all in a little bit. Bye bye for now.